Thanks
Who
for
else
all.
is-
Okay, got it.
So this is Ronnie. I'm starting our Greenway Committee meeting at 3:03 p.m. on Thursday, April 28th. And so today we're just going to kind of go over the rewrites on the Greenway plan. And basically that started off with Jody being concerned that there was a lot of redundancy, and I have to agree there was. But when we did the 2015, actually 2018 Greenway plan, we were working off of the model that was done in the first Greenway plan, done way back around 2000 or something like that.
That was
And
the one that was with a spiral binding, you know.
Yes, yeah. And so we were just kind of matching that section by section, and looking back, perhaps we should have removed some of this redundancy. So we did that this time. I think it's crisper. I don't think, and thanks to Jody's hard work and Larry's hard work in rewriting it, I just implemented their suggestions, and were good suggestions, and with a few minor tweaks just to try to make sense of things. And Larry's second pass actually caught some of my failures just because I was focusing on trees and forgetting about the forest. So, but
It
anyway,
reads a lot easier now. I think it's much more easy to read now.
it does, and a lot of the redundancy is gone. And we removed 20% of the pages.
Okay,
Roughly 8 out of 41 pages are gone.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we left the meat of everything in. We don't have a short-term, long-term goals. We just have goals. And so because there was some repetition between the short-term and long-term things we wanted to see. So anyway, I think we've pretty much got it taken care of, and we just wanted to see if anyone had any more suggestions. Do you want me to bring it up to discuss it? Show it on share screen with the document, or have both of you looked at it?
I went through the whole thing. I just read it again like a new document. And then I had the old one open, but I didn't compare. I just read it through. And if I noticed considerable change, then I went back and looked. That's where I found that the Friends of the Park thing was spread all over the place and needed to be. But otherwise, I mean, we've been over it so many times.
I need to see it again. Larry, you did a good job of inserting, deleting, cleaning up.
Yes.
It seemed quite readable to me.
Right. I stepped through it pretty carefully, Jody's and Larry's, to make sure that one didn't override or supersede the other, and just kind of look for content, but I still missed some things. After a while, after reading it for as many times as you have, plus 2 or 3, I skip over sections without even thinking about it. It's just a paradigm.
Yeah, that's why I didn't try to compare them again. I just tried to read it.
Right. That's what I asked you to do, and I appreciate it. So I guess if you're both comfortable with it, we will proceed now. Now the trustees may read it and find things that they want to add, change, or whatever, and that's good. I will. We're too late to make the cycle for Monday night's meeting, which is our organizational meeting, and it's very busy as is.
That's super busy anyway. I think everyone's distracted by passing resolutions one after another.
Right. Now I'm going to be gone as of May 10th through May 26th.
Okay.
I can put this on the agenda for the second evening meeting in May, but one or both of you might need to be at that meeting just to be sure that it's introduced properly and you can answer some questions.
Which meeting, which date are those?
That would be the 9th.
No, that would be, I just want to double check here.
You sure it's not the 9th? That's the second.
May 2nd is our first meeting of the month. And so it would be on the 16th.
Oh, okay. I have evening rehearsals on Mondays now until the end of May.
Okay. How about you, Larry? Could you be there?
Probably. I would be teaching Aikido, but the dojo hasn't reopened yet. So I am free Monday night.
Okay, well, if you want, I can postpone this until the first meeting in
No,
June.
That's
And
fine.
that way I will be back in town, and then I can do that. I just wanted to see if you wanted to get this
I
done.
can be
or
there. If
could
you
be
wanted, if you
for
want
May
me to do it,
16th?
I can be there.
For May 16th.
Yeah.
That's great, because I will probably be gone for the first meeting in June. I'll be in Colorado.
Okay, well, I would be here, so you wouldn't have to be there necessarily.
That's fine.
I just couldn't be the second meeting in May. And Larry, if you could, and if it turns out you can't, just contact Jody and tell her that you're not going to be there for that meeting, and to please just push it off to the first
see.
meeting in June. That will be fine too.
Okay.
That'll be the backup. Okay, I will send an email to Jody and attach the document, the PDF of the document, I believe. And just say that this is almost a complete rewrite from the first one that we sent.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll take care of that before I leave town. Thank you, Larry.
A similar related question. I'm working with Kathy Yen about the observer program, and just wondering, is it possible for the observers to get the information or the material package that the Board of Trustees or the planning board get, like if they're having a meeting and they're going to hand out something?
The problem with that, the trustees probably would not be a problem. With the planning board, sometimes the packages are extremely large, engineering drawings, plats, and so forth, that we don't get physical copies of as an email, that they're basically there at the village office for people to pick up. But you could get an agenda and as much electronic information from all of the boards, actually BZAP, planning board, and the trustees, if you'd like. I will bring that up at the Monday night's meeting, the organizational meeting, and just see if anyone has, if the trustees have issues. I don't see why. It's a public meeting, so it's for open meetings law reasons, you should be able to. There's never anything that we share electronically that isn't public information anyway. But the planning board packets, and it could be that some of the BZA packets might get fairly big, and I don't think you would want those.
Yeah, probably you'd want, when I read the planning board things and I say, well, they're talking about, they have a new design for the building and you can't see it.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I guess the thing that I would recommend is if you get a packet and that's mentioned, and you say, could you provide this one image, or at least a high level image of this, so we'll kind of know what you're talking about. Mike usually shares it on screen, but
I see.
But that's not always readable. Where if you have something on your computer, you can enlarge it and so forth, and kind of zoom in areas and look at things.
I imagine that most of the people who are reading this would be not so necessary to have so much detail as much as some sense of what they're talking about.
Right. Yeah.
The previous plan had too many buildings and this one has less, or something like that.
Right.
Okay, I'll try to deal with Mike about it and see if I can.
Okay, I don't have a problem with it. I don't think the trustees would, but I would at least like to pass it through them and make it an official thing, Larry.
Okay.
It's just a matter of adding the names of the observer organizers or managers, who that would be, if it's you and or Kathy that would do that.
Are you now managing the observer program?
I'm sorry?
Are you and Kathy now managing the observer program?
That's we're going to start, after the meeting tonight. We're going to try to cover. She's going to do the trustees and I'm going to do the planning board for the month of May, and find out how practical it is to use the recorded video to make reports. If that works, if that's something, it might make it easier for people to deal with if they don't have to be there at a particular time.
If you have to watch an entire 2-hour planning board meeting, just, if you're an interested villager, I think I would prefer a synopsis.
That's what I mean. So
Yeah.
that's why we'll try it as a process for the observer program and see if that actually is practical. And then we'll be able to suggest to people, put it on, 1.5 speed and cut 40 minutes off it or something like that.
Cut to the chase. Yeah.
The issue with that
Because
is
there's
that
just so much
sorry, Lynn, you cut out. You
no.
Cut in and out.
I know, I'm freezing up and I don't know why. I put in a new router in my house and it still seems to do that a lot.
I'm sorry.
I wonder if you take the blur the background out, I wonder if that's using up your computer.
That happens no matter what I do.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, people just pop in and out. I can go none, but it still seizes up. And I don't know.
Because you're living out there in the woods, way out in the woods.
I'm down in a hole.
Yeah.
Even my router doesn't, I got a better
That's the
router.
price you pay for privacy.
Right.
I was going to say, Larry, the issue you might find is that Jody and Mike don't always get those videos up quickly.
Mhm.
The thing that we could approach them and say, could you just send us the video? Don't worry about the quality so much. Once you have it, can you, well, they're large files.
Yeah,
so it really needs to
problem.
be up on, YouTube. And
Yeah.
I've noticed that Jody has not put up the last couple of meetings that we've had, but she's been out of town on vacation. So I think she's behind.
Well, that's the thing. At first I went up to Mike and talked about, well, I'll get it on a disc, but you need a huge disc.
Yes.
Many,
You have to do it on a thumb drive of some sort.
That's really,
That's-
not practical, especially for
Yeah.
people that just want to know what went on.
Yeah.
The chase.
So the observer could run it if we can just get it up online. The observer can run through it fast
Mhm.
and just say, oh, like the subject comes up and skip to the part where they say decide even.
Right.
So
I think that's a worthwhile effort.
we'll try it in
Yeah,
May
pretty
anyway.
Kathy.
That's our plan right now.
We'll work the kinks out and see if we can't. I think that with the new guidelines from the state, we're supposed to have those videos up pretty quickly
Mhm.
since we
yeah.
are recording them.
Yeah.
So that's may force Jody and Mike, and I'm not laying the blame off on them. They just get busy.
One more
and
thing to do.
That's one thing that they forget to do. Jody is using those for her transcriptions.
Yeah.
So she's
It's an auto
not,
transcription.
she does an auto, then she comes back and refines that from watching it. But that doesn't mean that we can't go ahead and put the video up because her video that she's using is on her computer.
Mhm.
And the YouTube version is one that they pull upstream and then convert it into their standard and
Mhm.
high definition
I see.
formats. So it's just a matter of getting that step done. So we'll work it out with you and see if we
Okay.
can get that working. Because I
Okay.
want to try to make it getting the videos up online much more efficient. So we're not behind so much. And if you're using it for the observer programs, that will give us an extra impetus
Okay.
to do that in a timely manner. Okay, so Larry, Lynn, stay for this conversation too, but basically I'm looking to either have Larry or Carolyn take over chair of the Greenway Committee. I'll still participate. I'm trying to back off a little bit because I've got a lot of other meetings stacking up.
I
instance-
was wondering when you were going to do that, Ronnie, because mayor's got a lot, you have to show up at a lot
Yeah,
of those
me too.
meetings.
I do, and they're becoming more problematic as some of the meetings are demanding that we be there in person, and it's going to make it a real problem.
Yeah. Well, you
So
should pay.
if-
I think it's
Larry,
amazing. how as
I'll
long-
offer it to you, and if you don't want to do it or you can't do it, then I'll offer it to Carolyn. And
Carolyn
obviously-
Greenwald.
Carolyn Greenwald, yes.
Yeah. I think, well, just my own my own feeling is that like I can do a lot of grunt work, but I'm not much of a manager.
Okay.
And Carolyn
All right.
seems to be really on top of things. So
Right. And our meetings are going to be less and less for a while now because we've got this update out of the way. And now it's just going to be a matter of a quarterly meeting until something unusual happens, and it takes a couple of meetings to get things straightened out. So
I think we need to, keep the momentum going on the new park, or at least getting that area mowed and pathways put through it and stuff.
Right.
But
that one's going to be postponed at least past this budget, because this budget cycle, we're going to try to take care of all the little amenities and so forth in our current parks. And then the cycle after that, we will work on the new park, I think.
Okay. And
so
what
that'll
about
be a year.
Is that sidewalk at the Dart Drive going in this year?
Supposed to be. Yeah. I'm really pushing to have that done. We keep postponing it and postponing it. The way we actually keep planning it and then postponing it. And we need to plan it and execute it this time. So I hope it is. It just depends on, with a small DPW staff, it's if emergencies can really suck time out of their schedule. And with aging water and sewer infrastructures, we get hit with a lot of emergencies right now.
I just listened to a program this morning on one of the NPR radio programs I think it's called 1A, or it might be On Point, about bridge infrastructure. Actually, they did some investigative reporters looked into the collapse of the bridge in Pittsburgh that happened the day that Biden went there to announce infrastructure. And it brought up the whole issue of why bridges are falling apart. In fact, somebody reported that major sections of that bridge were major pieces of metal underneath were unattached.
Yeah, joggers reported these things just hanging there in space.
And nobody did anything about it. And so it just brings the fact that our infrastructure nationwide is just absolutely crumbling. And poor Biden, he tries to get these things through Congress, and Congress just stonewalls. And so we leave these things at our peril.
Right. We're a very reactive nation at the federal level.
It's crazy that we can't be proactive. And
I agree.
Political, it's about everybody's safety and welfare. Why can't we just look at it from that perspective? It's not
the political game is not about winning. It's about making the other side lose.
Yes, making the other side look stupid. So I have a question about something that's proposed in the Greenway plan, and that is our friends, the idea of the Friends of the Parks volunteers, that we have sort of a picnic for them, and honoring them once a year. Have we done that yet? Or are we just
have not. We kind of want to wait until we get the Friends of the Park. We've actually got some people that have participated in the past. We probably could hold one this year if we wanted to, and invite, mostly it's the people around Shannon Park.
Yeah.
But there have been a couple of people around the Marion Hartel Park that have done things too. We can just kind of start that and just kind of let them know that, hey, invite other people, and this, we'll just have a few eyes on the park, and once a year we'll get together and thank you at one of the parks. And that's, so we budgeted some money for it, so we could do a little bit of something just as a thank you.
It doesn't have to be anything huge.
No.
And when I went to vote the other day, I met, I think her name is Marie Albanese, and she lives up in Navarre. And,
I've spoken with her before.
Yeah, and I think she and some other folks up there have been pretty excited about the Ned Hickey Park, and are really eager to see. They have an annual picnic there every year. Their homeowners association.
Well, they should have a pavilion after this year where they can have that, and a trail.
I said, we're really excited because I think we're putting in some infrastructure there this year. I think it's in the budget. We're really eager to see something happen to that park, so it isn't just a square of green stuff.
Yeah, it's just a place to mow right now.
Is there going to be a path there, you said, coming in?
Yeah, we're going to put a trail.
Going back, connecting to Hartel Park? Through the back?
No, the trail that we're putting in,
back to the Janivar Park system.
It connects in with the Janivar. Yeah. Well, it hits the Craft Life's Way curve, and it kind of goes back over to the west, and it will join up eventually with the beer properties that are going to be developed, because they have a sidewalk coming down north to south, and it will join this sidewalk or this trail, and then that will lead over to the trail that runs in through Lansing Trails, and it will eventually kind of connect in with everything else.
Okay, so
But it's not going to be a big trail.
We're not going to go through the back, to the east side of Harthill Park or
Not right now.
Park yet?
No, that area is still being considered for development, and I don't want to do anything that they're just going to come through in a couple of years and tear it up. We can do something down the road.
She brought the issue up because she said when it had to do with the trail. She said, when are they going to connect the trail back there behind Hickey Park? And I said, I wasn't sure, but I'm sure that it will happen.
There are trails through there that people walk through. It seems like if you just run a mower through it twice a year.
It's not formal. And
They're
there's
not
no
formal trails.
No.
And we need to surface them the way we surface our other trails, at least
Absolutely.
wood chips or wood or rock dust or however we do it. So they're more than just a mowed strip. So that people really know that they're part of our trail system.
Well, we do, John has determined that we do the blacktop. He said that's only because we can also plow it in the winter and get the ice off of it. And it makes it safe to walk all year round.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a heavy rainstorm, it washes away.
Pea
gravel and rock dust and certainly wood chips kind of stuff get blasted.
Yeah, so, we bought a specific plow that's the width of the sidewalks, so it just makes one pass.
Yeah.
And so we keep everything to that width, and it's good to go, and we can do a lot of it quickly.
Good. Well, it was just funny that happened to come up in conversation just 3 days ago.
Right. I think I talked with Maria. Or is it Mary? I can't remember. I spoke with her for a while when I was gathering signatures for something this year. We talked about this too. I told her plans, and I think the plans have kind of moved to the next step, which is they're in the budget, and now we just have to implement the budget.
Right. And I think she might be good to tap into in terms of their neighborhood association for park friends there.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that. That'll be someone to vote. I mean, someone to invite to this, this celebration.
And is there, you said that the homeowners association has their picnic there. Are we putting in benches this year or something?
We're putting in one bench there this year and the pavilion with picnic tables. And if once it's being used, we can say, oh, we'll need to add another bench at another location or 2 benches or something. We're planning on putting in the pavilion, a bench, picnic tables, trail, and doing some tree plantings.
Yeah, which is really nice. Really, really nice. Yeah, she said they bring all their own stuff. I said, would you bring chairs and everything? She said, oh, yeah, we bring our tents, we bring our tables, we bring everything. So this would make it really nice for that neighborhood because they're already using it.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why we wanted to put a pavilion in there.
And do we have?
We're going to try. Go ahead, Larry.
I was saying, do we have a name on the? I'm sorry, we're switching to Shannon Park. A name of the person at Shannon Park? Are we going through Jerry or?
Is it Jerry?
Well, it was Jerry. We'll start with Jerry. There might be someone else now that's more into it. Now, Carolyn's also been fairly involved with that. And so she and or Jerry together might be able to.
Carolyn lives over there?
People. Yes.
Yeah, she's over there. Yeah, fairly close.
And so we can put together a list to invite to a celebration. And the first one's going to kind of be,
like a recruiting
test.
Thing,
yeah, we're rehearsing for the formal one, but see if we can start attracting people to come in.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If we have some kind of leader or a name in each neighborhood, and they can tell people it's like almost an organizational meeting for Friends of the Park for their park.
Yeah, or they could create a little email list,
Yeah, and get it going before and then meet up at the
park. Yeah.
Some of that we should include, even though they're not part of Friends of Any Park, would be Diane and Jim Orcutt because they plan. They are definitely for the village.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. So what we will do offline is I will start a list of people we want to invite, and we'll start
Yeah.
building that list. When we get it up to a good size, we'll plan the date and location, probably Harthill Park. It's kind
Yeah,
of a
Yeah,
central
we could do it in
location.
the early fall if we wanted to. That gives us the
Yeah.
whole summer, and there's a lot of other
Yeah.
stuff that's gonna have to happen. I don't want it to get in the way of serious work that has to be done, but in terms of just organizing bodies, maybe the early fall or, early
Right.
September.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And we can add names to it at the very last. And if we
Right.
miss somebody, we'll just overplan a little bit and make sure that if we forgot someone, they can show up too, and we still have plenty of
Yeah.
food or
Right.
whatever we have there. It won't be a great big deal. It's just a chance to thank everyone, get them all
Right.
collected, and say you're all working to the same purpose, and you're helping keep our parks, nice looking, and thank them and carry
It's
on.
It's always nice to be acknowledged for work you
Yeah.
do. I mean, for
Yeah.
most people, it's unsung. They don't expect to be thanked,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, but
it always feels good when it happens.
it does.
Do we have, are you aware of people at other parks doing the same thing?
Shannon,
We got the Dankert Park. I don't know if anybody is doing anything in Dankert Park, and it's hard to recruit.
I do. Yeah, when I've been training there once or twice a week last summer, the last 2 years actually, and we picked up junk all the time. But
Yeah,
just twice a week,
that's trash.
moving branches, most fallen
Yeah.
branches and things.
well, that's part of what you should do, but only if the small branches.
Yeah, I mean, just because we're training in the grass, and so all the sticks and popsicle sticks and stuff, we pick it all up. But
Were you
I haven't seen anybody else doing anything like
Are
that.
you
Right.
training soccer field side?
No, we're right down by the pavilion
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
in the grass.
Got it.
Yeah, I haven't even been up that hill to the soccer.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll start working on that formally this year, I think.
Which just to getting off the track again at Dankert Park, and on the other side, I mentioned this once before, but there's a row of trees that leads into the Cornell development that's being rezoned
Mhm.
for the apartment. And
Yeah.
there's
Oh, yes.
that bunch of trees, most of the hunting area back in there is just that buckthorn and brush and garbage.
It's junk. It's really junky. Are there some
But
good?
along that edge of Dankert Park, there's a beautiful series of maple trees that are just fantastic in the fall.
Oh,
And
they
I'd
should
really
be
be ashamed to lose those if they bulldoze the whole thing.
No, we're going
Right
to
on the
work
property
with them.
Are they on the property line?
I haven't, as I said, I haven't been up there. I just noticed it in the fall, how beautiful they are.
Okay. What we plan to do, planning board is on board with it too. It's been part of the discussion related to our tree law,
Yeah.
is to keep a buffer zone of trees around the development. And those would probably be within a good buffer zone. You might lose one or two or something, but for the most part, they would all stay. And that would be true of anything that's a buffer between the development and the park and the development and swimming club and all of the other. Some of that's just garbage that can be removed and put in something that's more appropriate and long lasting. But if there's any good quote good trees there, we need to save those, because
Well,
it takes
I was-
a long time for them to grow to maturity and become pretty like that.
Who should go in to ID them and decide which ones should be saved, for a start? I'd be happy to go in and help ID the trees because I know them pretty well, but I have to know that it's on the property line and not infringing
Right.
on
Yeah.
or encroaching on Cornell land that they plan to develop. But so nobody goes in there, first thing and just starts whacking down trees, because that's what people do. They just
Oh, I
get in,
know.
sauce and let's get it cleared, and then let's
Yeah.
step look at it. and
Well,
see
that's what they did along Warren Road. They took out everything on that lot
Yeah.
that's for sale. And
They
that
did the same thing
guy,
on
somebody
Dart
did
Drive.
that on Dart Drive.
Yeah, they did that.
Was that the guy who was
No.
building across the street?
Dart Drive. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
He called
going
it,
by the pond?
yeah,
Yes.
right across the street. He cut down every tree on that lot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He couldn't have done that.
And about 2 feet above 3 feet above the ground. It's strange.
Yeah, it's just like a stump farm now.
Yeah.
Well, eventually they'll get the stumps out of there because clearly he's going to use that for building lots.
Is it the same guy from across the street?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. I think it's someone else.
Who built that first building there?
Oh, Belisario.
That's Belisario?
That's Belisario owns all of those lots through there.
Is that Belisario, the trucking heavy equipment company?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. They live in the village?
Heavy equipment.
They use their construction crews when they're not working on a formal project through contract, and they've got extra time. They bring them over and put them on these projects to work those a little bit at a time.
Interesting.
I think that they've spent a little more time this year actually having people full time on it. It's gone up a little quicker this time. They're building a second building over there now.
Yeah.
So,
on the other side of the stream or the pond.
I can't imagine living on Route 13. I just,
yeah,
back
you're gonna have. I
there.
know.
The corridor.
Well, that's the other thing, taking about buffers, the junk or no, Cornell's going to put apartments in across 13, south of 13. They should leave whatever's growing along 13, regardless.
Yeah, for buffer. Yeah, because it's going to be noisy.
Yeah.
Right. Where we're asking, the tree law is asking that the developer bring in a certified arborist. There's another term for whoever they're going to come in and assess the trees and determine which ones the village wants them to keep and or replace with of like value. If not on the property, then within the village. So that's what the planning board is reviewing the tree law for now to see if we've covered everything that they want.
Good.
So I tried to put pressure on them, say if you don't hurry, then these developments are going to come in and they're going to ask to be grandfathered out of that because it wasn't on the books by the time that they agreed to build.
Right. And they can also, they can just plead ignorance and say, well, we just have to get everything out of there in order to work on our development. We hear this all the time. I'm still angry at Dairy One. Every time I drive by that place, I just feel angry that
me too.
they were allowed to get away
Well,
with what they did.
Even worse, East Point Apartments.
They're terrible too.
They could have left, if you look at the just east of them, that industrial building there, the tech building, you can't even see that building. In East Point, that whole row of trees could have been left there.
I know. I
don't understand what they're thinking.
They don't. I mean,
if you have a place with mature trees, the price goes up.
Absolutely.
I don't know. You advertise mature landscape.
Right. As it gets hotter, where shade trees are going to become more and more important. As part of our village trying to control our greenhouse gas emissions. And I think that those things have just got to be hand in hand.
But of course they do.
Yeah. It's so hard to plan.
Talking about East Point. On the west end of the sidewalk at East Point, the connection to the Janivar development by the fire hydrant, has that been taken care of? Where Carolyn was complaining about, was it Carolyn? No, Monica was talking about the stroller. You fall into a hole there by the fire hydrant. Did that sidewalk get fixed? Or
I don't believe it's been fixed yet. I think there's a question about whose responsibility that is.
Yeah.
But they were also looking at opening that western
that's
driveway.
Another,
and they might have to expand it or reinforce it to accept delivery truck weights across it.
Well, that's quite a bit further west from there, so that won't affect the sidewalk itself. But it's just strange that it's only about 6 or 7, 8 feet. Just needs something.
I don't know why that was left there. I would think that probably the Lansing Trail stopped short, but I don't know why. So, and something needs to be done. I'll ask John at some point to when he's got some time and he's over in that direction to take a look at it. He might already know whose responsibility that is, and just say it may be half East Point and half
Janivar.
I don't know,
Janivar.
it looks like it's kind of eroded around the fire hydrant, and I'm wondering if they're concerned something about, building it up above, if they level it, it's going to be higher than the fire hydrant. That might be the problem. They might need to raise that hydrant or extend it. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know about that. As long as you've got access to it, it shouldn't be. My fire hydrant is below road level here by about, well, no, that's not true. The valve, the connection, the top connection is at road level. So you might be right. They might have to put in a longer extender out of the ground.
Ronnie, is the sidewalk going to go in on your side of the road or the other side?
Other side. It's going to be on the north side.
No.
Dark Drive. And I believe that the street lights will be on that side too.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah. Janivar, I don't usually drive through there because I don't like to drive through that neighborhood. I just don't think it's a good thing to do, but rarely. I sometimes go through to see what's happening there. And I have to say there's some very weird architecture.
Yeah, the pink one's pretty.
Oh my God.
The pink one's pretty, that one's maybe inspired by the Bahamas. One looks like a Swiss chalet.
Oh, and the other one looks like early taco late enchilada period of architecture.
I agree completely.
Yes.
I don't know. It wouldn't be something that I would have chosen, but
taste. It's all about.
At least they have something interesting.
Fine
They're
house.
interesting.
I think someone was having a sale on bright pink paint is what I think.
They're far more interesting than East Point, which I think is just absurdly cliched. And
I know. It makes me think of the Truman Show in there.
The
Truman Show with Jim Carrey.
Yeah, exactly.
This really synthetic synthetic world with a synthetic neighborhood and everything sort of cookie cutter. But hey, one of our new trustees is from there, and possibly a new member of the BZA, although I haven't talked to her. That's
right.
Renata.
Yeah.
I haven't actually contacted her yet. I think we're still looking for a full-on member and an alternate. Maybe she could be an alternate. My concern, and Ronnie, you and I shared this, but my concern is that she leaves for the winter. And we need to have everybody there when we need everybody.
Yeah, when you meet, you need to have.
It is a part-time job, but you need to be around when we get the meetings called. That's,
No, I fully agree. Yeah. I'm going to mention that tonight's community. I'm going to mention tonight at tonight's community party. Yeah, we need to get some fresh blood on our board. So I'm going to. If Robert doesn't, I will, or we might do it in tandem. Just have people commit to contacting one or two people to look at potential running for an elected office or an appointed office.
Or appointed, because we definitely need one more person on the BZA, and there are other openings as well.
There are two in the planning board, a full-time and an alternate.
Oh, that's right, because Monica and let's see, who else was on the planning board that left? Simon. No, not Simon.
No. Tony left. Patrick came over, but and Lisa is leaving as chair.
But she'll stay on.
Seemed like there was someone else.
Is Mike Baker going to move up into chair?
Yes, Mike is going to assume chairmanship as of Monday night.
I think Lisa gets a pass. She has done hard work.
Oh yeah.
For a long, long time. It is time to pass the baton.
Yeah, many of us have done that, and Lisa's done an excellent job. But we need to start bringing up the next generation. We need to start.
Is Lisa leaving the board or just stopping?
I think she's just stepping off as chair right now.
Right. I mean, she does a lot of travel. She can do it by Zoom, but if we all have to be back in person from now on in order to vote, she takes off to Maine for months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't work terribly well if you're chairing a committee.
No, I agree. It doesn't.
And does Patrick then become a full-on member and not
he is currently, and he will be
he'll be reappointed.
Reappointed Monday night for a full 5-year term. Their terms are 5 years.
Right.
So yeah, that will happen. And
he deserves a new job.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Said he'd
He'll
been
do fine.
20 years or something like that. Oh my God. Well, that's like
Right.
Mary.
Sarah,
Yeah, Mary Saroy, who was the chair of the BZA forever and ever, until I stepped up.
right. And
Marty
thank
is
you
the
for
one
that.
who caught me by the collar and said, "Hey, you can't leave the village that way." You know, I had retired from the board, and he said, you know, hold it. Put a gun to my head, as it were. I'm happy to do it.
So you said that we're down, what, an alternate and a member on the board, on the planning board, and then one BZA, and how about the trustee?
Yeah, we
Trust-
don't.
Trustees are okay right now.
Yeah, we got two new trustees.
But we'll have another election cycle next year. And I don't know if Pat's going to run again. I don't know if Carolyn's going to run again.
Right.
There's no point in them telling me now, but
No.
at some point, you know,
But
Pat's,
it's out
Pat-
there.
yeah, we've got to
Out there.
be able to get candidates in. So tonight's meeting, I'm going to bring up this and challenge people to get
Yeah,
people,
Being on-
not just say we want to do something and then wait another year to say we still want to do something, but set a deadline and say, have these things done by this point.
Does anybody have any word about how many people turned out to vote?
65,
Oh, that's got to be a record low.
57 live votes, 8 absentee.
Oh, gee.
Mhm.
Well, given the circumstances and that we're not opposed, I guess you can almost, but boy, what a small percentage of the electorate in the village that
Yeah,
is.
the 1,300 people. I made more telephone calls than that almost.
I know. And Deborah and I had real problems getting signatures this year for the candidates because
Oh, yeah, that
people
was
just
hard.
not interested. They wouldn't answer the door. I'm not interested. I'm too busy to sign a piece of paper.
Really?
It took you as long to tell me that you weren't going to sign it as it would have just to sign it.
Yeah, really.
So,
God, was this going door to door or just calling people and
No.
asking if you could come by?
no, we were going door to door.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. In
I-
snow
In snow. I know it's
and
always
rain.
the time of year in March. It's always cold, awful.
Yeah.
I didn't actually get out to any people in my neighborhood because we already had enough signatures and
No.
yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I understand. And it's when the weather's bad, it's just hard because you don't want to be out there and people don't want to open the door.
Yeah.
And all the more reason they don't
Yeah,
want.
I've been calling around. I did both, but I
Mhm.
called around, make appointments as often as I can.
Where do you canvass, Larry?
Oak Crest and Cayuga Hills,
Okay,
Sundowns.
yeah. Well, I have East Shore Drive, which is, pretty flaky.
Problematic.
Yeah.
Very problematic, very spaced
Yeah.
out. You have to do it by car. And I have Burdick Hill and SD Drive.
Okay. Yeah.
And we've got a couple of new people living up there on SD. They're both in very large modern houses. One went in a few years ago. I don't know who it is. It looks like a professional, a work at home professional thing,
Mhm,
like a counselor of some
It's
kind.
the foam and cast concrete structure.
Yeah, that white thing.
Mhm.
And then there's the other one where they clear cut pretty much
Yeah,
the entire.
cleared the whole
lot.
lot.
They cleared the whole damn lot and put it in a house. And, I screamed at Mike numerous times about it. And
I don't understand.
they left in a buffer down at the edge of the cliff. Woo-hoo.
Oh, yeah. I remember that
Yeah.
property.
I don't
But,
understand why people buy a wooded lot. Go buy a.
They want to view the lake at any cost, and it absolutely doesn't matter what you're doing environmentally. It just doesn't matter. People don't care. They want that view of the lake.
Right.
It happened south of me, but it was in the town of Ithaca. The guy bought a steep lot that had mature hackberry trees on it, which are kind of unusual in this area. And they are a very tough, wonderful native tree. And they were probably over 100 years old. And he had a forester go in there and clear the lot. And my neighbor, Bruce Johnson, and I ride bikes sometimes, not much on East Shore Drive, but we were riding by one day when the forester was there at his truck, and we just stopped to look at it, and we were scratching our heads. And he said, You know, I've done this job for a lot of years and I've never had anybody ask me to take off every single tree. He said, I always have left something behind, but not this job. We were just appalled. That was the town of Ithaca, town of Lansing. And that's
the guy who built a big stone
Yep.
steps. The line.
he set huge big blocks in order to put in a zigzag driveway. And then he has this big sort of double house. His name Alex. Oh God, I've forgotten his last name. I think he's Iranian. And he owns a business up in Lansing, some high-tech company. And then I believe that he doesn't live in it anymore. He is now renting it out as a vacation property.
So it's empty most of the time.
Well, yeah, on and off, but I can imagine what it must cost to rent that place for, say, a week with a view of the lake. That's what he wanted.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Me sounding off and sounding kind of pissed off.
I'm right there with you.
I'm just pissed off that people do this in this day and age. Trees are harder to come by, and they're stressed. I'm losing trees on my property. I am losing big mature trees. I just lost a double stem. I lost one stem off a double white pine just a few days ago, and it fell and it knocked another tree onto my power lines. And I said, remove the branch yesterday. I didn't lose power, but it was really sagging.
Yeah.
Had a big branch leaning on the whole apparatus. And
you're lucky, I guess.
I was lucky. I just hate losing trees.
Yeah, I hate losing too.
It just makes me sick. So anyway, I'm glad that we're getting a tree ordinance. I just hope it makes people more aware of the climate altering move of removing trees, what that does to your local microclimate.
We'll do what we can do.
Yeah, we do what we can do. Exactly. At least we're thinking about it.
We are working on it. I wish we were working faster.
Yeah, I've been taking the buckthorn off the east side of my yard.
That's hard work.
I don't have a buffer now. You can see right through my trees.
Yeah, I'm taking out privet, and I now I can see down to the road because there's nothing else coming up.
What are you taking out?
Oh, privet. It's the next.
Oh, I got privet. I'm leaving the privet.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible stuff.
It's dreadful stuff. It
Really?
suffers underground. It runs roots underground, and then it pops up a series of bushes wherever the roots go. So
It's a hedge plant though, right? You can make a
What?
hedge. You can grow a hedge with it, can't you?
Well, people planted it as a hedge, and it's an alien. It should never be sold here because it escapes cultivation. The birds eat the berries, take them somewhere else and poop them out, and then you've got privet coming up everywhere. And it's an obnoxious, horrible plant that is no good for anything. Nothing eats the leaves. No insects live off it. It's just like buckthorn. Nothing eats the leaves. So it is no good for, ecosystems. It's anything. It's a drag because it's just taking up resources where something good could be growing.
I was
Anyway,
I took
it's a
about
pest. I'm taking
an
it
hour.
out.
It took me about an hour and a half to walk from my house to go vote. I picked up all the trash across from my stream crossing here down by the Awa's house to the
village office.
I had 3 wheelbarrows full.
Oh, good.
Whoa.
But I went out into the stream across from the Lansing Meadows, so-called Lansing Meadows. And did you notice all the trash and stuff that's been washed into the stream? I got rid of all that stuff. But in order to do that, I had to cross over and trespass onto the Sundown's property because the cardboard and foam has been washed out into the yard there. And he bush hogged that. Remember about 7 years ago or something?
Yes, he wanted to open it up.
Yeah. And what I noticed was that now there's a lot of dogwood and other native plants back in there.
Really?
Yes, I was really surprised.
Gray dogwood.
It's some of it looks like red dogwood.
Red
stems.
orchard.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
And so it looks like, in fact, for the long term, he took out all that buckthorn and all the honeysuckle in there. And now it looks like there's more native species than I've got on my land.
Well, that's great. I mean,
Mhm.
if those things were already there, that is really encouraging.
Yeah, that's good.
So
That's good.
maybe we need to get a bush hogging.
I could use one, but you know, the problem is if it isn't the trees, it's the darned earthworms. They are devastating my forest floor.
Yeah.
They're devastating my woods. Now I can't, that's something we can't control at all. We can at
Mhm.
least do the deer hunt, but we can't do anything about worms. Anyway,
No.
and I think we had a pretty successful deer hunt. I have no idea what the total was.
I
haven't
don't
heard from
recall
Barrett. Have
either.
you heard anything?
I
Larry?
asked
Do
Barrett and he
you
had,
know how much he got off your place?
oh, about 15 from here, I think, at least. We had 5 and 1 tonight. But I think about 15 here, maybe more, maybe 18. And I think the number was in the 60s.
Yeah, my place was probably 10, maybe 10 or 11, not as many as earlier years, which is great. You know,
Yeah.
the number's going down.
But I've seen since then, I've seen a group of 10 here, right around here.
Yeah, I know. They hang out on sundowns where they're safe up there with the
Right.
turkey.
Yeah, you can drive by and see them standing around.
They're all standing around, yeah, or lying down, lying down chewing their cud. Oh, well, we can't do anything about those guys.
Well, I think we're
We're done. We're
done with this meeting, and I will
Great.
I will submit this and ask Jody to put it on the agenda for May 16th trustee meeting.
Well
Larry.
done, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Yeah, thank you for the work.
And nothing particularly we have to do except to try to encourage or figure out about getting people formally involved eventually in Friends of the Park, I guess.
Friends of Parks.
Right. So we'll start working on that this year.
Okay.
And we'll plan on a celebration for those who have already done this informally, and
Yeah.
let's see if we can come up with contacts for the Friends of Park.
Yeah, make it a recruitment party.